What possibly is going through the mind of Shaun Hill right now, do you think?
Well, I think the thing about Shaun is he's played a lot of football. So it's a little different situation than mine or a lot of guys that, when your starter goes down basically on the eve of week one, a lot of guys have a lot of different emotions. Shaun Hill is a guy that's been around for a number of years and has started. So this is like, hey, I've been here before. I know how to play at this level. I'm going to go in and play. I think the bigger question is, what's the rest of the team thinking? And again, nothing against Shaun Hill, but we know if you don't have that guy, the chances of winning a championship and getting to that point are slim to none. And I believe everybody in that camp was starting to believe Teddy was one of those guys. Couple that with what Coach Zimmer has done and that defense and AP. And they're saying, we've got a legitimate chance to compete for this thing. And now we lose that guy. And I think it's the mindset of everybody else going, well, there it goes. There goes our opportunity, to compete for a championship this year because our guy's gone.
So how can Mike Zimmer affect that belief that it can still work out in the same way that I guess Vermeil tried with you? We all remember the Vermeil teary-eyed press conference, which I know describes about 50% of his career press conferences, but he said this team will rally around Kurt Warner. How do you think Zimmer can affect that belief?
Well, I think the one thing that you can kind of hang on to is you can look to last year and say, look at the Denver Broncos and how they won the Super Bowl. Yes, Peyton Manning was the guy behind center, but it wasn't the Peyton Manning that we knew. It was more of a game-managing Peyton Manning with a really good defense, and they maybe didn't even have the running game that they believe they can have in Minnesota. So I think there's, a track record there to say, hey, we've got all the pieces, even without Teddy, to compete for a championship. But I'm just going to look at history, and history tells me that unless your defense is one of those dominant, best ever type defenses, it is tough to win. It's tough to get there without the dynamic guy at the quarterback position that can change the complexion of games and can win games for you at that position. So that's the sell I think you have to have because they have a lot of pieces there. But I just think it's a tough sell. I mean, it's a tough sell in this day and age when that position dictates so much.
Yeah, I know. And it certainly helps to have a Hall of Fame running back behind you like you did and like Shaun Hill will have. But that's not Ike Bruce and Torrey Holt and Oz Hakeem on the outside. No Ricky Prohl. I mean, you know what I mean? The Ricky Prohl of it all that you had as well. I mean, that's a different story than what the Minnesota Vikings are putting out there at the wide receiver position. Stephon Diggs, no offense to him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think, as I said, the message has to be we're going to win running the football and playing defense. I don't even know going in, if Teddy had made that leap yet to become that guy that you felt, well, he can win games with his right arm. I'm not sure Teddy was that guy anyways. But what I'm saying is Minnesota said Teddy's our guy. And we believe he's that kind of guy. And that goes a long way for a defense and a running game and a team when you believe you have that guy. You go around the league, and there's a number of teams that believe they have that guy, and that guy can win them a championship. And so it's a mindset and an approach that you have to have every time out. It becomes different when you go, okay, we don't have that guy. Now the defense has to play better. And now we have to run the ball better. And you start pressing and becoming something that you wouldn't be if Teddy Bridgewater is behind center, something you don't believe you have to be at that point. And I think that's where it gets really, really hard is when one person or one unit starts to believe they have to do everything on their own and they got to win despite the quarterback position. And again, I don't want to put that on Shaun Hill. Shaun Hill has played some good football at different times in the National Football League. But he hasn't shown he could be that guy, that can take a team deep into the playoffs and compete for a championship, where Teddy was kind of making that move where people started to believe he could be that guy.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.